Abundance is a trust walk. Truth. So is learning to walk when you stop and think about it. So let me share with you one of my favorite stories of my nephew David, who many decades ago was first learning to walk, because it has some valuable lessons for us when it comes to the trust walk of abundance. So first of all, David was like a butterball, toe-headed, big tub of a baby with blue eyes and a big grin. And when he was first learning to walk, he'd pull himself up like from the sofa or the coffee table into a standing position. And then rather than taking the safe path, just like right along the couch or table, no, David was fearless. He would launch himself across the vast expanse of their living room. And when you stop and think about how kids are learning to walk, they don't start out heel toe, heel toe. They do tippy toe, tippy toe, tippy toe. And so you'd see Dave tippy toe, and he'd have this big grin on his face, like, look at me, I'm walking, I'm walking. And then you could tell the moment he knew something was wrong. And what was wrong was tippy toe, tippy toe, tippy toe. His head started to lean in front of his feet, and he was kind of leaning forward. He was pitching forward. And you could tell when he knew something was wrong. And then you saw what he did to try and solve it. He tried to move his feet faster, 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 faster. And he always wiped out. Always. What David didn't know at that time is that if he had the moment his head got out in front of him and he was off like that, and he felt that out of balance ruh-roh moment, if he had just stopped moving at that moment, he could have recentered, reconnected, and begin walking the rest of the way. No wipeout required. The same thing is true for us when it comes to abundance, my friend. Abundance is a trust walk. From the moment we listen to the impulse within us that wants to go someplace, that wants to give up the crawling around on the floor, sensing there's more for us. David was crawling around on the floor, and something inside of him said, I think I'm going to do this thing called walking. And the same is true for us when it comes to experiencing abundance, when it comes to growing. It's like there's a life force in us that pulls us up and invites us to leave what we've known and maybe gotten good and comfortable at for something new. Trust walk. No guarantee what's going to happen. It's a trust walk because when we do that, oftentimes, we don't really know how to navigate this new territory. And so we may tippy-toe, haven't mastered heel toe yet. The other thing that makes abundance a trust walk is because, you know what? Scarcity gets us racing off into the future. Oh, when I get there, or what if this goes wrong? Or, oh, I got to do this. And if I don't do this, and I don't do this, and we leave the present moment. Our head goes off to the future, and we start reacting, usually from a fear-based perspective. And something inside of us knows something's off. There's a tension, there's a pressure, there's a stress we feel, but we ignore it, just like David did. And in reaction to those thoughts and those beliefs and that going off into the future, we start trying to do more and work faster and go faster and go faster, and more pressure and more tension, and we're more out of balance and we're more out of balance, and inevitably we crash. We get sick, we get exhausted, something goes wrong, we can't keep it up, wipe out. Because we have to learn the same lesson David had to learn. We have to learn to recognize when our mind is taking over and we're ignoring that life force impulse within ourselves. We're ignoring the experience of our body. We're ignoring the wisdom of our heart, our intuition, when it's telling us, whoa, slow down. Let's just stop for a moment and reconnect and remember and recenter, not just with ourselves and the totality of who we are, body, spirit, and mind right here in this moment, but also with the one who gives us life, the one who planted that impulse to walk, or that impulse for abundance in us, the source of all life and abundance that I call God, and you may call some other name. But believe me, when we're in scarcity and we're trying to get this place and go there and do this thing and go, 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 our mind races and we race right after it, right into more scarcity. We have to learn to trust the wisdom of our bodies and spirit, trust ourselves, and stop. Remember, recenter, rebalance. Yes? And then we can continue move forward. But it's not just all of that that makes it a trust walk. You know, when David started learning to walk, he didn't know it, but he was trusting the force of gravity that if he stood up and he started walking, he would stay connected to the ground, right? He was trusting that he had legs and hips and feet and arms and all that sort of stuff that he could do it. He was trusting something beyond his own knowing, which is why I keep emphasizing this new definition of abundance as being the knowing in our bodies, not our heads, our bodies, that we're part of something bigger than us and our individual efforts and perceptions. And that's what makes it a trust walk more than anything, because our brains like to think we're the ones who are making it happen and we can do these things and we're going to get there and we're going to walk and we're going to do this. And we can't do a dang thing on our own, because always, whether we realize it or not, we're part of something bigger than us, and that something bigger is operating for us and through us and with us, giving us the resources we need to move through our unique journey on life, to grow and develop more fully into who we were meant to be, and to blossom and produce fruit that we can share with the world. And one of those resources is money. And boy, is that a trust walk, because our brains want to dominate when it comes to finances and money. But we can't, because that's where the scarcity beliefs come from too, that keep us chasing, going, not trusting ourselves, not trusting the one who made us, not trusting there's something bigger and loving and powerful and creative and intelligent at work in us and through us. It's a trust walk. But you know, the other thing that makes it a trust walk, and this is the piece that people sometimes forget, and I include myself in that, you know, all those times that David wiped out, sometimes got a bruise, sometimes got some stitches, sometimes the hole was in the wall instead of in David. All of that was what enabled and empowered him to be able to walk quite successfully today. See, when we get that abundance is a trust walk, then we can also trust that even the wipeouts, even the mistakes, even the oops, blew that, oops, went off course there, oops, you know, fell down on that one, even that, if we're open to it, works for our good and becomes part of the learning we need to continue to walk our unique journey. Not chasing abundance, but living in an experience of abundance, trusting in abundance. Around us, within us. Because that's who we are. So, any chance you're having a little bit of a challenge with that trust walk? Any chance you have a hard time trusting yourself or trusting something bigger than yourself? Any chance you're wiping out and you can't figure out what you need to learn? Any chance you're just going, head down, and you're on the verge of a wipeout because you don't dare trust you can stop? If any of that's relating to you, resonating with you, then let's connect. Because the other thing David learned when he was learning to walk that applies to us in our walk of abundance is sometimes after he fell, his mom or his dad or even I would kind of walk along with him the next time, sometimes giving him a steadying hand. And that too, receiving support, is part of what allows him to be able to walk today. And it's a necessary part in this trust walk we can call life, this trust walk of abundance. So if you think, any part of you thinks, maybe she can support me a bit on my trust walk, then let's connect. Let's see what's going on, see how I can support you so that you can go where your heart wants you to go.